Pope Francis has arrived in Greece. The pontiff aims to strengthen ties with the Greek Orthodox Church while addressing climate change and the migrant crisis on Europe's borders.
Tensions continue to rise between Moscow and the West over Russia's military buildup on the Ukrainian border. US President Biden promises a strong response to any aggression. The parents of the teenager who shot and killed 4 students at a Michigan high school have been arrested for manslaughter.
Pope Francis has arrived in Athens for the second leg of his 5-day tour of Cyprus and Greece. This trip will centre on strengthening renewed ties between the Vatican and the Greek Orthodox Church. Discussions on climate change and the plight of asylum seekers on Europe's borders also feature high on the pontiff's agenda. However, first on the day's itinerary was a meeting with President Katerina Sakellaropoulou. Without Athens and Greece, Europe and the world would not be what they are. They will be less wise and less happy. This welcoming country has seen a number of migrant brothers and sisters arrive to some of its islands, superior to the inhabitants themselves, increasing the inconveniences that are influencing the economic crisis. In addition, the pontiff took no prisoners when criticising Europe's nationalist agenda. The European community, torn by nationalistic selfishness, sometimes appears closed and uncoordinated instead of being the driving force of solidarity. I would like to push a global vision once again, a community vision, in front of the migrant issue, and encourage us to pay attention to the most needy, so that they are welcomed and can benefit from the possibilities each country has to offer. Before his afternoon appointments, the head of the Catholic Church was welcomed by the Prime Minister. The members of the Society of Jesus will later host His Holiness at the Apostolic Nunciature of Athens.
Tensions between Russia and the West continue to soar over a massing of Russian troops along Ukraine's border. For weeks now, the United States and its allies have accused Russia of planning an invasion of Ukraine. Kiev remains confident of its military strength, but they fear the possibility of a Russian invasion is growing despite the increasing support from the West. Our intelligence service is analysing all scenarios, including the worst. It has noted that there is a probability of a large-scale Russian escalation. The most probable time Russia will be ready for escalation is at the end of January. The better we work alone and together with our partners, the lesser the risk of escalation. The solution is to make the price of a possible escalation unacceptable for the aggressor. Ukraine is very interested in a political and diplomatic resolution. The US is holding firm on its position. It is prepared to respond if Russia attacks first.
What I am doing is putting together what I believe will be the most comprehensive and meaningful set of initiatives to make it very, very difficult for Mr. Putin to go ahead and do what people are worried he may do.
Meanwhile, Russia says it's preparing a proposal for a long-standing ceasefire that it will present to NATO allies in the coming days. This is despite a recent talk between US Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on the sidelines of the OSCE summit, not yielding a concrete path forward. James and Jennifer Crumley, the parents of a teenager who shot and killed students at a high school in Michigan, have been arrested. They're being charged with manslaughter for letting their son use a gun they bought him. The police and the FBI had been actively searching for the couple since Friday. Their lawyer says they were not on the run but left the area for their own safety after the attack claims the lives of 4 teenagers in November.
To the families that lost their loved ones, there are no words that any of us have. The only thing that I can say is that we as a community, we are here for you. And that is whenever you need us, we will gather. We will continue to pray for your healing.
A vigil was held for the victims of the shooting on Friday. In Belgium, in the last 2 weeks alone, more than 1 in 50 people have been infected by COVID. ICUs are overwhelmed and hospitals are cancelling operations. New restrictions have now come into place. Schools will close a week earlier than expected for the Christmas holidays to allow teachers to get their third booster shot. Large groups are no longer allowed to meet. Indoor activities are banned, except weddings, funerals and home visits. Outdoor events like Christmas markets can still take place, but only with the COVID certificate. Bars and restaurants must also close after 11 p.m.
We see that the infections are very high, but at the same time we do see that the number of deaths in our country is a lot lower than in countries also reporting a high level of infections. This is because of one reason, and that reason is the fact that the level of vaccination in our country is particularly high. Once again, I would like to thank the 8 million people in our country who have been vaccinated for doing so in order to take care of themselves, but also for their act of solidarity.
Meanwhile, Belgian virologist Mark van Ranst told Euronews that so far the symptoms of Omicron for vaccinated people in South Africa are mild, but this could change. He says vaccination and proper ventilation are essential.
Well, if you're unvaccinated and you're not living in a cave, there is one certainty, and that is you will get the disease. You might escape it for a couple of months, but you'll get it. When this Omicron variant really takes hold here in Europe, then it will become almost inevitable that you're going to get it. Now, when you're vaccinated, the symptoms seem really mild, and I hope it stays that way. The problem is we don't know yet for sure. That might really help. But if you're unvaccinated, I have only one message, and that is get vaccinated.
It'll be another 2 weeks before the world knows the true impact of Omicron, but vaccine producers and manufacturers of antiviral drugs say their products can be ready within months.
Marine Le Pen, the French far-right leader, arrived in Warsaw on Friday. However, in a surprising move, the leader, who has been accused of anti-Semitism, first paid tribute to Polish and Jewish victims slaughtered in the 1943 Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. The presidential candidate is in Poland to unite far-right European party leaders. Saturday's meeting will centre on their future within the European Parliament. I am very optimistic for this large group to come together. I think that what has happened in Poland in the face of blackmail and the threats from the European Union, in addition to Poland resisting once again, well, perhaps this will help make everyone aware that it is only through unity that we will succeed in bending the European Union by weakening it. Le Pen is also grappling with a much more hardlining candidate, Eric Zemmour, who is draining her voters' base. For now, she will focus on uniting her allies with the support of Poland's right-wing government.
Since the Taliban took control of Afghanistan, there have been high levels of uncertainty for the young and old alike. Many, like these undergraduate students, are at a crucial stage of their education, and they are worried about the future. Some feel the war and this new regime may have put an end to their careers. But the challenge to their education is not the only threat.
Temperatures are expected to drop to minus 25 degrees Celsius, and many displaced families lack proper shelter, a primary requirement if they are to survive the bitter cold in Afghanistan. The humanitarian crisis is escalating daily in Afghanistan. Hunger in the country has reached truly unprecedented levels. Nearly 23 million people, that's 55% of the population, are facing extreme levels of hunger, and nearly 9 million of them are at risk of famine.
Across the country, economic hardships have forced people to find new jobs in order to earn a living. In Kandahar, some people have even turned to harvesting opium poppies. This man says he used to get up early in the morning to earn some money for his parents. Then he went to school for half a day to prepare for his exams. Now he says the situation has changed and he can't earn enough, so he's growing opium poppies. The United Nations Refugee Agency has urged for much more support for the tens of thousands of people displaced in Afghanistan in 2021.